Hello, everyone. The Galapagos are located on the equator in the Pacific Ocean, about 575 miles off the coast of Ecuador. Because the Galapagos were only recently discovered by humans about 500 years ago, the animals evolved without learning any fear of humans. This means you can get very close to them, and some will get very close to you.
This is a blue-footed booby, my favorite animal in the Galapagos. Our guide told us that there are about 60,000 of them here. They're found elsewhere, but about half of all blue-footed boobies are found in the Galapagos. They have a funny name. It comes from bobo, which means clown in Spanish. And as you can see, their feet are really blue. They're excellent fisher birds. They often fish in groups or sometimes on their own. When looking for fish, they will fly over the ocean between 30 to 100 feet above the water, but sometimes as high as 300 feet. When they spot fish swimming close to the surface, they turn down and fly incredibly fast towards the water. Just before they hit the water, they fold their wings back so they look almost like an arrow. They hit the water at speeds up to 60 miles per hour. The bones around their head are specially built to cushion the impact from these dives. They're also well known for performing a funny dance when mating. We didn't see this, but we've provided a link to a video of the dance.
Frigate birds are often called pirate birds or pirates of the sky. This is because they are not good at catching fish themselves. Their wings are not built to get wet, plus they're not able to take off from the water, but they are very good flyers. They have a huge wingspan for their weight and can fly for a long time with very little effort. They try to steal fish from other birds, like blue-footed boobies and red-billed tropic birds. Here's a picture we took of frigate birds bothering some smaller birds, possibly storm petrels. They harass other birds by flying near them, sometimes actually grabbing onto the other bird's wings or tails and shaking them in the air. The only way they stop bothering the other bird is if the bird drops their fish. Then the frigate bird swoops down and catches it before it hits the water. Here's a male and female frigate bird side by side. The male has the red pouch on its neck. In mating season, males will inflate this pouch so it looks like a big red balloon. The females then pick the male with the best looking red balloon. We were not there during mating season, but here's a picture from Wikipedia of a male with an inflated balloon. Frigate birds will also eat newborn chicks from other species of birds. In this video, you can see two frigate birds trying to get a young Nazca booby chick. The mama Nazca booby won this battle. She's the one making the whistling sound.
How aggressive these frigate birds are. I have seen frigate birds going after their chicks, and they cannot carry it.
While this may seem bad, we also learned that Nazca boobies often lay 2 eggs. That way, if one doesn't hatch for some reason, they have another. If both hatch, then the 2 baby birds will compete to get food from the mother. The stronger one wins, and eventually the weaker one is pushed from the nest, and often becomes frigate food. The frigates get to eat, and the Nazca booby population gets stronger because only the strongest chick survives into adulthood, where it can reproduce. So you learn in the Galapagos that everything in nature is connected, often in very complex ways.
These red-billed tropic birds are some of the fastest and best flyers in the Galapagos. Their long tail feathers make them stable as they zoom close to waves and helps them to make sudden turns. This flying ability helps them escape frigate birds that are trying to steal fish they've caught. Our guide told us that if you see a red-billed tropic bird without its tail feathers, it's typically because a frigate bird has pulled them out while harassing them. The Galapagos penguin is the second smallest species of penguin in the world and only about 1.5 feet tall and weighing about 5.5 pounds. We saw them on Bartolome Island, but they are found on a few other islands. The Galapagos is the only place in the world where some penguins live north of the equator. They survive in the Galapagos because of ocean currents that bring cold water to the Galapagos. They are endangered and there are fewer than 2,000 left. They are very sensitive to something called El Niño, which is a natural cycle that results in warmer water in some of the cold ocean currents. This means less food because the fish that the penguins eat stay further away from the Galapagos. There was a really bad El Niño in the 1980s that almost wiped out these penguins. They have been slowly recovering. However, one of the concerns is that with climate change, strong El Niños seem to be happening more often, giving the penguins less time to recover between them. I just did a blog post about Galapagos penguins.
These marine iguanas are endemic to the Galapagos. Endemic means they are only found in the Galapagos and nowhere else in the world. They're also the only species of iguanas in the world that go in the water and can swim. Here's a picture of one swimming near us as we were snorkeling. The iguana's on the left. And here's one swimming and then crawling out of the water.
These Galapagos sea lions are a great example of how Galapagos animals have little fear of humans. They will lie on the beach and not even pay attention to people nearby. They'll also come right up on the back platform of boats, as this one did while we visited one of the islands. One of my favorite experiences in the Galapagos was snorkeling. Twice we saw sea lions under the water, and one time a sea lion seemed to play with us for a few minutes. It swam around us, moving back and forth as we did, and even came so close so we could have touched it if we tried. You're not supposed to touch them, so we didn't. Animals could see it as aggressive. I just did a blog post on sea lions. You've been watching a baby sea lion ask her mama for milk.
There's one other animal we want to tell you about, and it's the reason the islands were named Galapagos. When people first came to the Galapagos, many of the islands were covered with giant tortoises, maybe as many as 250,000. Many of them looked like this one with its saddle-shaped shell. Galapagos means saddle in Spanish, and that's where the name came from.
Galapagos giant tortoises live to be over 100 years old. One tortoise named Harriet was brought to Australia by Charles Darwin in 1835. She lived until 2006. She was 175 years old. Giant tortoises can weigh up to 900 pounds. Unfortunately for the tortoises, they're also very tasty to some people and can survive for a year without food or water. Sailors and pirates that used to come to the Galapagos would fill the holds of their ships with tortoises so they'd have fresh food to eat on long voyages. Tortoise populations were also damaged by invasive species like pigs, which would eat the turtle eggs, and goats, which would eat the plants that the tortoises fed on.
As a result, there are several islands where Galapagos tortoises used to be, but are now extinct. These are the red X's. But there are 5 islands where various species still exist. On one island, Isla Hood, there were only 14 tortoises left, the last of their species, so they started a program to save them. They brought all 14 tortoises to the Charles Darwin Research Station on Isla Santa Cruz for protection and breeding.
One thing we found out was that temperature determines whether tortoises will be males or females. If tortoise eggs are kept at 85 degrees Fahrenheit, they will be females. But if they're kept at 82.5 degrees, they'll be male.
Now, 1,200 tortoises have been reintroduced to Isla Hood, and these tortoises are breeding on their own. Their species is no longer endangered. It's a great example of something people have done to help the environment and animals. This is a video of baby tortoises in the breeding center at Charles Darwin Research Station.
We saw even more animals while in the Galapagos. If you want to check them out, go to our Galapagos photo album on the photos page of our blogs. And if you like this format, please send us an email or leave us a comment on the blog.